Hi, everyone. It is Sarah, the founder of the Live Like Rue Foundation. For more, check out livelikeRue.org. If you see me, you know that we're going to meet an animal. Today, it's a special dog that unfortunately is no longer here. But again, with Live Like Rue, unfortunately, because of the way that our apps are stacked up, we sometimes cannot get to people until a few months later. That's what happened in this case. And I just wanted to, before I introduce Brett, um, there was something in the application that, well, there were two quotes that I pulled out actually from the email that was sent to Deborah, who assists with medical. I'm going to start to cry already. It is, quote, he lived until the last day of his life, which, if you know Live Like Rue, you know Live Like Rue Foundation. That's exactly the epitome of what we're about. Every single day is lived like it's your last. I'll get to the other quote, but I want to bring in Brett. And sorry, I already forget your name.
Chris, sorry.
Chris. I'm sorry, Chris. I'm like, I should have written it down. I should have written it down before we even started. I'm awful with that. Okay, see, that helps me like clear these tears. Brett and Chris, hello guys, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you.
So I know your dog, Patrick, unfortunately you lost him in October. And you guys have been waiting a while. I know you applied a while ago and you did a really good job of telling the story. But to start with, the story of how you rescued him is just incredible. So can we please start there?
Sure. So I saw him on Instagram, and he had just been beaten by a group of men in Indonesia with meat cleavers. And the sight was just totally horrific. I just couldn't get it out of my head. So they were sending updates through Instagram, but because it was in Indonesia, the updates were coming in the middle of the night. So I was like waking up in the middle of the night, like every night, like seeing how he was doing, because I was just like, the second I saw him, I knew I needed to help him. So after a couple of days of like seeing the updates, I reached out to the group and I said, how can I help? And I kind of was like at the time thinking, oh my God, like a bunch of people are going to reply, or a bunch of people are going to email, and so many people are going to want this dog. By the time I woke up in the morning, I had an email saying basically like, we would love to like get him to the United States, and he could be on a plane as soon as you're ready. So I was kind of like overwhelmed, thinking like, oh gosh, like what did I just do? I already had 2 dogs at the time, but I just knew from the second I saw him that I needed to help him. So he flew here. We are just south of Los Angeles, so he flew here. And the rescue group had found a surgeon, incredible surgeon, who has done work on the past, like really groundbreaking work on the past on animals, creating new like facial features and everything. So we went there, and the doctor basically created all new nasal passages, created a whole new nose, using his own tissue from the roof of his mouth and all that, to give him what you see on the screen as the cutest face I've ever seen in my whole life. So that is kind of how I rescued him. And then I was supposed to actually foster him, but that obviously, as many of you all know, that doesn't work out so well. So that turned into him just being my forever baby.
Yeah, and I'm not going to show the picture because guys, I'm telling you, it's even for me. I've seen a lot. People send me stuff all the time of their dog's poop and a penis stuck out, and like I get a lot of pictures. I've seen a lot. It's going to disturb you, so we're not going to show it. But I will tell you that dog being beaten, I've honestly, it's one of the worst things I've ever seen. So kudos to you. I mean, it's so hard to look at, and just knowing what he went through, and then unfortunately what he ends up with, cancer. It makes me so mad. It made, like with Rue, rescued from an owner, unfortunately, that didn't care for him, and then he ends up getting out of the shelter, but only for 6 months. And then those stories, like, it kills me. It's just awful that a dog escapes that torturous life to end up with somebody like you, and then unfortunately gets diagnosed with cancer. So take me to the cancer diagnosis and what happened. And I want to just tell everybody the other quote that pulled at me. we're not rich, but I would have done anything for him. I mean, we see that all the time with Live Like Group. People, a woman that sold her house, she sold her car, she had nowhere to live, and still ended up losing the dog. But again, these humans that will literally do anything for their animals. When you're in it, you just do what you have to. So tell us how it came about.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the first thing, like you just said, I mean, some of the estimates they would give us, like it would take days to absorb, like to actually look at it and like to go like, wow, like, you know, like to absorb that dollar amount, it was just like hard to like fathom. But I would say the diagnosis came in multiple stages. We found a mass inside of his mouth through just a routine exam. Obviously, we're a little, we weren't super optimistic about it. And so we went and got it biopsy, or actually, we got it removed through like a dentist. And they said they removed everything with clean margins. And, but it had basically already like, it said vascular invasion, which I didn't know that term before, but it meant that it was in his blood vessels. So they had referred us to the oncologist. The oncologist kind of had really the whole recommendation of we could do radiation, chemo, we can do the melanoma vaccine, we can do any combination of any of those things. So we started off with the melanoma vaccine. So that was 4 doses of the vaccine. At that point, there was even the oncologist said there's really no proof that there's still cancer in his body. So with a couple of rounds into the melanoma vaccine, found that his lymph nodes, 2 of his lymph nodes in his throat were really hard and they were enlarged. So they did the fine needle aspirin, and obviously it came back cancer. So he had 2 lymph nodes removed, 4 lymph nodes.
4.
Removed in his neck. There were 2 that for sure were cancerous, and there were 2 close by that they were like, it's just, you know, while we're in there, let's take out all 4. So they did that. He recovered. That surgery was really difficult on him. I mean, the surgeon made it sound like it was going to be super easy, but the surgery was really difficult on him. So after that, we felt pretty confident. The oncologist felt pretty confident again that there was nothing going on. Maybe about another month later, there were lumps in the area where his lymph nodes were. They did a fine needle aspirate and the cancer had come back again. So we ended up doing 4 or 5 rounds of radiation. And then, yeah, there's the picture. He completed his radiation. It was a big celebration. And we took him on a trip after that. I mean, we were so excited. We thought he was just totally cancer-free. They said the radiation was super successful. We were all pretty happy. And then at I want to say it was 8 or 10 week post radiation visit, they did a x-ray of his chest. And at that point there were already masses inside of his lungs. So obviously the cancer had come back again. We went and followed up with an x-ray every month, and the masses just kept getting bigger and bigger. But when I say he lived every day, I mean, the oncologist kept saying, you know, the mass is this big, now it's this big, now it's this big. You know, she's like, I'm really surprised that like he's not slowing down. He kept wanting to go for all of his walks, kept wanting to do all of his normal things. So we were really optimistic that like maybe it would plateau at some point. But in the end, it was just too much for him to handle. So.
And how old was he?
We say he was probably 13. Just kind of
okay.
the bits and pieces of what I got from when I rescued him. It sounded like he was maybe like 5-ish when I got him, and I had him for 8 years. He was kind of ornery like that, you know, like would never let anyone see that anything hurt him, or, you know. So he really, I think he pushed his body pretty hard for his own stubborn self and for us for as long as he could.
Yeah. So I know you lost him in October, and then you're left with about $29,000 in bills. Are you still paying those, I assume?
Yeah, I mean, so we're still paying off credit card bills, that's for sure. We don't owe anything to any of the vet places because we put everything on credit cards.
Got you. So we're gonna help with $5,000.
Oh my God, that is incredible. That is really incredible. That is.
Very nice.
Good, good. I'm so sorry
We're
you
blown
lost.
away. I mean, that is.
Sorry.
I know it's so
really
hard.
incredible.
It's so hard when you lose them and then you're just left with a bunch of bills. So I feel that deeply. So I'm so glad we can help you. Thank you for your patience. I wish we could have done more, you know, during when you were going through that time, but thank you guys for hanging on and being patient.
I mean, thank you guys. Thank you for everything you do. I mean, I wish I want to think that all the things that you guys do extend dogs' lives too. I know there are many people who just cannot, like, I mean, at least I had a credit limit. You know, there's people who don't have any resources,
Right.
and I just wish that there are people who, I'm glad there are organizations like you who can help in that way.
Thanks.
I have not firsthand experienced cancer like this, and it is just truly the worst thing. I mean, we had so much hope every time we thought he beat it.
Yeah, and that's what one thing we say is like sometimes that's all you have is hope, you know, when
Yeah.
everything is stacked against you. But that just thinking that it's possible to, you know, buy a year or buy, you know, even 2 weeks sometimes is what
Yeah.
it takes. But you know, another thing, just when you are racking up money on credit cards, you're end up paying, you know, way more than what the bills are because of
Correct.
the rate. So that it's almost tougher, you know, in a way. So you know, you're definitely my type of people where you didn't flinch at any of those bills. And, you know, it's a shame that you have all of them and you're just left without Patrick, who was saved from hell, literal hell, and landed in such a great place with you guys. So thank you for doing that. I'd give you more if I could. Donors, please help us. I would love to give them even more, but at least this is a good start for you guys.
We are so appreciative, so blown
Thank you.
away. I mean, I can't even express to you how much that means.
Thank you,
And
Greg.
I think Patrick is very similar to Rue in the sense that the things they go through in their life, like if there was a dog who could have had the most peaceful ending, I felt like who really deserved it, you know, it was him. And I just like, I would have given anything for him to just like fall asleep and just, you know.
So true. That's so true. I couldn't have put that better. That is very, very true.
Yeah.
But thank you for giving him so much. And he leaves a legacy. And now you guys are part of the Rue fam. So you guys are stuck
Yes.
with us now. I know it's funny how you want to be part of. We always say that you don't really understand canine cancer or animal cancer until you're part of it. It's not a club you really want to be part of, but you're stuck with us now. So thank you guys.
Yeah.
It's so nice to meet you, Chris. I really
Thank you
appreciate
so
our
much.
Thank
We really can't express our appreciation enough.
Correct. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Take care.
Thank you so